All right, let's talk about the weather ahead for the U.S. Virgin Islands. This week is really a story of two halves. We're starting off calm and stable, but then a pretty significant change rolls in that you'll definitely want to be prepared for. This is a DGHradio.com news and information United States Virgin Islands weather review. Okay, with that out of the way, let's dive right into the big picture for your week. So, what's the big picture looking like? Well, we're starting off pretty quiet. With the real story, the main event, is a powerful swell that's going to bring some hazardous conditions to our beaches and out on the water. And then, things shift again just in time for the weekend. Okay, so let's break down the key messages for the week. And right off the bat, some fantastic news. The National Hurricane Center isn't expecting any tropical cyclone formation for the next 7 days. So we can all breathe a little easier on that front. We're going to enjoy a really nice, stable start to the week, but, and this is the big one, you got to be ready for some hazardous seas and a high risk of rip currents coming in midweek, especially around Thursday. After that, a frontal boundary moves in and kind of shakes things up for the weekend. All right, let's talk about the here and now. We're in the calm before the swell. The start of the work week is looking really pleasant, pretty much what you'd hope for across the islands. So, taking a closer look at today, it's a pretty consistent picture no matter where you are. St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, you're all looking at highs right around 91 degrees. We've got a nice little easterly breeze, maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour. And rain? Not much to worry about. Just a 20% chance of a quick passing shower. Honestly, it's just a classic, beautiful day out there. Now, as we get into tonight, you'll start to notice a change. A little more moisture starts creeping in, and that bumps our rain chances up to around 40, maybe 50% for some scattered showers. Then Wednesday. Wednesday is going to feel different. It's going to get breezy out there with gusts kicking up to 25 miles per hour. And, this is important, that moderate risk of rip currents, it's sticking around. It's kind of the first sign of that energy building up offshore. Okay, let's get to it. This is the main event for the week. If you've got any plans on or near the water from Wednesday on, you really need to listen up. So, what exactly is changing midweek? Well, all those nice, pleasant conditions we're starting with, they're about to get a major shakeup, and it's all coming from the north. The culprit is what we call a long-period northerly swell. So what does that even mean? Think about it like this. A storm way, way out in the deep Atlantic generates all this energy. That energy travels across the ocean as waves, and now it's about to arrive right here on our shores. And trust me, when it gets here, it packs a real punch. And how big a punch are we talking? We're looking at seas building to around 7 feet. That's especially true for the offshore Atlantic waters. This is definitely going to create some hazardous marine conditions, so you can pretty much guarantee that small craft advisories are going to be issued. And this is really the number one danger for most of us. This is a direct quote from the National Weather Service's Hazardous Weather Outlook. When they say high risk, they are not messing around. They don't use that term lightly. This is a serious, serious warning for anyone thinking about going to the beach, especially those north-facing beaches. Just to make sure we're all on the same page about what we're dealing with, a rip current is this narrow but incredibly powerful channel of water that flows away from the shore. But the key thing to hear, the most important part of this whole forecast, is the exact language the National Weather Service is using. Occasional, life-threatening rip currents. That's their highest level of warning. So the takeaway here is really, really simple. Thursday is absolutely not the day to be taking any chances in the water. Please be safe. Okay, so once we get past that midweek hazard, the atmosphere isn't quite done with us yet. We've got another change coming. Let's look at how the pattern is going to shift for the weekend. So here's how this whole thing is going to play out. Step 1. Friday looks great. Pretty fair conditions. We're still in that nice easterly wind flow. But then, late Saturday, a frontal boundary starts to knock on the door from the north. By Sunday, that front makes its presence felt, and our winds are going to swing around to come from the north-northwest. And you know what that means? That change in wind direction is going to pull in some more moisture. So we'll see an increased chance for passing showers as we wrap up the weekend and head into Monday. All right, let's zoom out and put this all together. Here's your week at a glance. Okay, as you can see, the temperatures are pretty steady, hovering around 91 until we see a little dip on Sunday. But the real story, the thing you need to watch, is that key feature column. See how it builds? We go from a moderate rip risk today to Wednesday when that swell arrives and things get breezy. And then there it is, Thursday. That high rip current risk isn't in all caps by accident. That's the day to be most cautious. Things calm down nicely for Friday, and then you see that weekend shift begin on Saturday, with those northerly winds and slightly better chances for showers on Sunday and Monday. So, there you have it. It's really a week of two different stories, right? A beautiful, calm start that builds to a really hazardous peak midweek, especially for swimmers and boaters, and then it all ends with another pattern shift over the weekend. We've laid it all out for you. The question is, how will you plan your week?